Hi, I've got something that you might be interested in. Let's read it with Mr. Jolly to see what it's all about. Mr. Jolly. Mr. Jolly makes others jolly. If you're sitting comfortably, let's begin. That evening, Mr. Jolly went to see his old friends and clients, Mr. and Mrs. Wise. They'd had Mr. Jolly write their wills years before. They'd looked after the children and cut out any arguments or fighting. They'd asked Mr. Jolly around because they were concerned their widowed neighbour, Mr. Confused, had been taken into a care home, and his own home had had to be sold to pay for all the care home fees. Mr. Jolly explained that back in 2001, 200 plus houses a day were being sold to pay for care home fees, and now it was considerably more. But not to be frightened, Mr. Jolly had a special protected property will available that could help. Mr. and Mrs. Wise hadn't needed it 10 years ago when the jolly world was a different place, but now more people wanted to try and protect the family home from care home fees. The Wises immediately put things to rights with Mr. Jolly's advice. Mr. and Mrs. Wise slept happier that night. Mr. Jolly was a very jolly man. Mr. Jolly went home tired, but jolly that his advice had helped others in his jolly land. He'd put things right for his clients in the future, having the ability to update their wills for free as often as required. Tomorrow was the local networking meeting, where Mr. Jolly knew the other members would have been referring his jolly professional advice to their friends and clients. He liked his networking chums. They all worked together to listen out for referrals for each other. After the meeting, Mr. Jolly was going to see Mr. Overloaded. Mr. Overloaded wanted Mr. Jolly to put powers of attorney in place for him. He was always too busy to sort out everything his fast life demanded. Then Mr. Stylish wanted Mr. Jolly to talk to him about a living will. Mr. and Mrs. Organised wanted to add funeral plans to their wills and powers of attorney to make things straightforward for the family when they'd gone and save a stack of money as well. Yes, Mr. Jolly would sleep well tonight, knowing that he was putting things in place to put people's minds at rest and protecting their families and loved ones into the future. Do you need to see Mr. Jolly, or will you let the laws of the land dictate who gets what?